From RFK Stadium, it's the Los Angeles Raiders and the Washington Redskins. This, the 125th consecutive sellout at RFK Stadium in Washington. Some 55,000 on hand to see the best matchup of this 1983 season. Hi, everybody. I'm Marv Albert along with John Brody. And, John, there are so many individual intriguing matchups in a game like this, but in the big picture, it comes down to the Hogs, that terrific offensive line of the Washington Redskins going up against the superb swarming defense of the Raiders.
Marv, I think it's the first time that you found an offense that really features its wide receivers going against the Raiders. Their two wide receivers are their leading pass catchers. Theismann likes to throw the ball out to the sides, and if there was ever a team that just lines up and says, have your best shot at us, fellas, we don't think you can beat us, it's the Raiders. And ironically, no one has tried them. I'm looking forward to seeing these two groups go at it early. I think it'll dictate the outcome.
All right, Marcus Allen was a question mark because of a bruised hip. Set out the entire second half against Denver last week, but Marcus says he's all right, and we'll give it a shot today.
Marcus may be all right. He hasn't been hit yet, but even though he won't make it, the Raiders do have depth. Greg Pruitt, who has been a great back, would be his replacement with Frankie Hawkins, and we know Kenny King has been doing a fine job for several years.
And this is Chris Barr getting set to kick off to the Washington Redskins. Raiders have won 13 of the last 15. Redskins 18 of their last 20. Redskins come in at 3-1. After losing to Dallas in the come-from-behind Cowboy effort, won their last 3. And the Raiders with a record of 4-0. And this is All-Pro Mike Nelms. Good coverage by the Raiders. Stacking up Nelms inside the 20. Backup linebacker Darrell Byrd leading the assault. So here are the Washington Redskins to the offense following the 16-yard return by Nelms. And, of course, they go with the single back offense. John Riggins, most valuable player last year's Super Bowl.
That was a lot of talent in the backfield, but very few people.
Yes.
And this is the reason.
And the offensive line, the key matchup, Joe Jacoby going against number 77, Lyle Alzado. And it goes right to Riggins. And a first down picked up by Riggins. Bob Nelson making the stop. So John Riggins testing that Raider defense, and these are basically the people you're going to see shuffled around by the Raiders.
Well, these 6 people interchange so frequently, Marv, it would be unfair and inaccurate to state it any other way than 6 across.
And the outstanding core of linebackers. Riggins picked up 12, first down at the 31, and again it's Riggins. And he is gang tackled after the short pickup. Matt Millen, number 55. Inside linebacker on the left, leading the charge. And in the secondary, John, you talked earlier about the fact that you feel the Redskins should go at the Raider strength in the person of number 37.
Well, the left cornerback is Ted Watts, obviously. He's number 20. They had Rod Martin up, who's a great linebacker, but I don't think he can play 2 positions at once yet. He maybe can, but Watts will be tested, I think, for the first time today, as will Lester Hayes.
It is Watts and Hayes at the corners. Mike Davis and Van McElroy are the deep men. And again, Riggins looking to pick his way out across the 35, and Rod Martin right there.
This is what the Raiders would love to do. Get them a 3rd and 5, 3rd and 6, and they are, listen, the Raiders are such good pass rushers, and I think you're going to have an opportunity to see it for the first time, that they really defy the short passing game, even though it only takes a couple seconds to get off. Those fellas get back in that backfield as fast as anybody I've seen in several years.
And we saw Riggins head to the sideline. Nick Giaquinto and Joe Washington in on this passing down for Joe Theismann. And Theismann slipped. Looked to be a mix-up. Howie Long on the cover-up.
Well, that's embarrassing. I know what Joe did is probably catch his foot on the center. Now, yep, there it is. You see the center caught. That's about the only way a quarterback ever falls down coming back out of there. But that happens a lot more often than you'd like to see. Jeff Bostic got his foot right in the way. Embarrassing a bit.
And here's Jeff Hayes back at his 15-yard line. Greg Pruitt Back for the punt. Pruitt averaging 9.5 yards per punt return. High snap. And Pruitt at the 32. Penalty markers down. And here's how the Raiders look offensively. Marcus Allen, who will give it a shot despite the bruised tip, along with Kenny King.
Watch him very closely early, because I've seen a lot of fellas play with bruises, but if that thing is still pretty sore, it's awful tough for a running back. I think an offensive lineman might make a go of it, a defensive player, but a running back, I just don't see it.
Raiders first down at their 23-yard line. Cliff Branch, who caught 2 touchdown passes last week. Top of your screen, Malcolm Barnwell on the other side.
Marcus is not in there.
And a flag down as Plunkett goes deep for Branch.
You notice Branch right then tried to beat him on a post, then beat him on a turn in. Both times he was open, Jim overthrew that one.
Second down, 15. And it's picked off. Curtis Jordan, the strong safety, with his first intercept of the season.
Well, Jimmy's trying to look to the other side, but never really does. He gives the play away a bit. He's trying to get the ball to Malcolm Barnwell, and Curtis Jordan is standing right in between him and the receiver. This was a simple catch the ball, and we got an interception.
And, well, here's Wiggins. And he's in.
Good enough defense to stop the ball carrier, but not to stop John Riggins. They get him trapped a full yard. Ted Watts makes perfect contact, 1.5 yards from the goal line, 0.5 yard from the first down line. Instead, Riggins picks up that extra yards with a final surge. Puts 6 points on the board for the Redskins. The first time anybody's made a rushing touchdown against the Raiders all year.
And Mark Mosley adds the extra point. So it took 1:27. 4 plays, 11 yards, following the interception by Curtis Jordan. And the Redskins lead it 7-0. And checking out the Redskins defensively, Liebenstein, Butts, Grant, and Manley up front. Here are the linebackers. Rich Malott having a solid season. And in the secondary, the rookie from Texas A&I, #1 draft pick Darrell Green, along with Jordan, Murphy, and Dean. Frank Hawkins to the 35, picked up 2. It'll be a 3rd down and 5. Curtis Jordan there for the stop. 3rd down and 4. And Plunkett gets it away. A beautiful interception. Ken Coffey, the nickel back, picking off the pass intended for Todd Christensen. And he now has a 2nd down and 32. Back at the 11. Penalty marker thrown as the ball was batted down. Looked to be Alzado, and there's Howie Long in an animated discussion.
There we go again.
Mark May, the Redskin right guard, and the left defensive end, Howie Long, who said before the game, you know, we're not very welcome when we travel, talking about the Raider Ball Club. Howie said, would you want your daughter to marry a Raider? Riggins now 46 yards, 12 carries. We're still first quarter with 2 minutes remaining. Play action. And the Raiders did not go for it. A one-handed sack by Howie Long.
You think those fellas aren't strong? Now, Joe Theismann weighs almost 200 pounds, and although he looks like a midget, he's 6 foot tall. At least it says that in the program. And to be able to take a man like that with one hand and absolutely stuff him. That's what the official was calling here. He had no chance to get away from Long, even though he only had him by one arm. Look at this. Boop. Thank you very much. Right on the money, and they've got a first.
And it's picked off for the third time today. Mel Kaufman intercepting Plunkett. Plunkett has been intercepted 3 times in this first quarter.
All right, and people are going to be very critical of that one, but that was the one ball that wasn't a bad pass. We pick up Kaufman coming off with an interception, but he picked off a short out. He took it on the dead run, put 23 yards.
And the first quarter has come to a close. A big first quarter for the Washington Redskins. When we resume, they'll be 2nd down and 7 at the Los Angeles 20. We'll be right back.
Number 3, Mark Mosley, trying to kick the field goal.
28-yard attempt, and this one is good. So Mosley, who missed moments ago, putting this one right through. And the Redskins, who have had their way in this first half, now lead the Raiders. And Jeff Hayes punting for the 3rd time this afternoon. Greg Pruitt back at his 10. Just under 10 minutes left, first half. And the Redskins 10, Raiders nothing. Big rush, and Hayes just did get it off. Redskins look to down it and succeed. Ken Coffey, the man who placed it down. So the Raiders hemmed in as they start up deep in their own territory when we come back. All right, let's head down to the field as we'll see what Plunkett will do. 9.5 remaining in this first half. Plunkett deep in his end zone and firing for Branch. Cliff Branch.
He is gone, folks.
Wow, 99 yards. That's what Plunkett answers with. And the Raiders right back in it.
Somebody said, do you think the Raiders are complacent, Marv? All you have to do is look over at the bench. If you notice Tom Flores in your picture, they are up for the ball game. They've seen everything that can happen go against them so far today. They've hung in there about as well as the defense can. They finally get the ball on the 1-foot line. Plunkett's thrown 3 interceptions. The receivers have dropped the ball. We mentioned that they're going to keep coming toward Branch. This time he caught Dean trying to pick one off. He tried to play Branch real tight up the line of scrimmage. Branch got by, Plunkett hit him. This is what Al Davis says is our brand of football, but 99 yards is a bit much. As you can see, that's the unemotional Tom Flores.
And that is the longest touchdown pass play in the history of the Raider franchise.
And there will never be one longer.
Good point, John. By Chris Barr putting it through. So it is now the Redskins 10 and the Raiders 7. We'll be right back. 2nd down and 8. Theismann looking for Monk. He's got it. Art Monk for the first down inside the 15. Otis McKinney with the tackle that prevented a touchdown. Still rooting for your old ball club.
You bet.
All right, Theismann. Touchdown. Joe Washington.
This is the first drive that the Raiders have allowed against them all year long. It was a beautiful drive. It was well conceived. They ran different receivers throughout different areas. Joe Theismann was on the mark. He was very patient. They used Riggins to eat up a lot of the clock, keep him in a situation. And at the end, Theismann makes a perfect throw to Washington. Didn't look like it was perfect, but it's the only place it could have been thrown.
And The extra point added by Mark Mosley, so Joe Washington with his first touchdown of the season. 80 yards, 6 plays in just under 4 minutes.
Allen and Branch to run the show, let their defense play. Plunkett knows it's on his shoulders now, and he loves the challenge.
Looking for Barnwell. Malcolm Barnwell inside the 25. Covered by Darrell Green, but a beautiful over-the-shoulder reception by that guy, number 80.
It was a beautiful reception, but the ball was placed in a perfect spot to catch. If you're a receiver, you like that ball coming down. Plunkett has good stuff on the ball, puts it in a perfect spot. Barnwell sees it the whole way, takes it easily, and steps out of bounds.
3rd down, 7. Plunkett just firing it, and it's intercepted. Bad toss by Plunkett.
Oh my, look at this. They're calling him down. Plunkett threw the ball. They said Dexter Manley had him down before he threw it. Now, if defensive linemen are going to complain that they had him down.
And again, Plunkett chased. And again, hauled on. It's Mac the sack. Tony McGee, his second of the day. 4 minutes gone by, 3rd quarter. The Redskins lead at 17-7. Joe Washington.
Y'all be careful out there. Now you see Art Monk.
So Art Monk, who has made his return here today, he is the reigning member of the Fun Bunch, but not having fun here. Art Mosley has missed from 36 and hit from 28. This a 30-yard attempt. And Mosley has extended that Redskin lead. 5.5 gone by. 3rd quarter. Redskins now lead the Raiders by the score of 20-7. 1st and 10 back at the 17 as the Raiders take over. Play action for Plunkett. Oh, nice catch by Todd Christensen in front of Mark Murphy, the free safety. So Christensen with the long gainer, and the Raiders have a first down at the Washington 42-yard line, a 42-yard pass play.
Well, everybody in the house knows we have to come to one of our best players, one of our big playmakers in a critical situation. So we've got Todd Christensen getting one-on-one with Curtis Jordan. Plunkett's going to need a little extra time to get the ball.
6.5 left, 3rd quarter. And Plunkett gunning it down. Calvin Muhammad, touchdown. Calvin Muhammad with a spectacular catch.
You said that right. Can you believe, Marv, that right now, if they kick the extra point, that the Raiders are within a touchdown of winning this ball game as much as they've been blown off the field? The crowd has come to a total silence, and if you just take a look, you realize where we're playing. Jim Plunkett, a 99-yarder for the 1 score. Now he moves a little bit this way. 2 plays. They come from way down in their own territory. The second fine reception by Calvin Muhammad, his first chance to really do some playing. And I tell you, that was beyond the call, that catch.
First touchdown of the season. Calvin Muhammad, 2nd year out of Texas Southern. And now Chris Barr splits it through. And the Redskins, although overwhelming the Raiders, completely outplaying the Raiders, can only show a 6-point lead. Washington 20 and the Los Angeles Raiders 14, and this crowd is stunned. 2nd and 10. Looking for Muhammad. Touchdown. Calvin Muhammad again. And the Raiders have tied it at 20.
If you don't mind my saying, this is the sort of play in a big game that just changes the starting lineup. I don't care who it is he's going to be playing in front of. He's going to have to be doing an awful lot of playing. The Raiders like to go deep. They've got a man in Calvin Muhammad that can do it for you. He is in a one-on-one situation. Take a look. He's a crisscrossing pattern man. The 2 defenders run into each other all over the field. It's Coffey trying to handle Muhammad. He can't do it when the ball is thrown. Muhammad makes another great catch, his 2nd reception of the day for a touchdown, and the Raiders can go ahead with this.
Mark Wilson puts it down for Chris Barr, and the Raiders have moved in front. So the Raiders have come from behind, although completely outplayed throughout the first half, and they now lead the Redskins 21-20. A 22-yard touchdown pass play with that man, number 82, Calvin Muhammad, who is seeing action because of the hamstring injury suffered by Cliff Branch. Now here's the crowd looking to rev up the Redskins. Minute and a half left in what has been a terrific third quarter. Riggins fumbles and recovered by the Raiders. Greg Townsend on the recovery. So that is the first fumble loss by the Washington Redskins since the New Orleans game last year, and 600 and change in terms of the streak, which we'll be able to focus in on a moment. But John Riggins finally losing a fumble.
And you see, you just have a game between a bunch of money men. The young fella that's been playing so well all year long, Greg Townsend, stripped the ball from Riggins.
Time is running down in the third quarter. And that is the end of the third quarter. With the score, the LA Raiders 21, Washington Redskins 20. We'll be back after these messages from your local station. First and goal at the 2. Pruitt in motion. And it's a touchdown for the Raiders. Todd Christensen with the score. He was hit out of the end zone, but the Raiders on the board again. And they lead it 27-20.
Marv, we're about to see a lot more football. You can bet that Joe Theismann will be throwing that ball from corner to corner as soon as they get it back. But it's the comeback of Jim Plunkett and the Raider offense that really sticks in your mind now.
And Chris Barr adds to the lead. So Christensen with his fourth catch of the day, 61 yards in all, his first touchdown to give the Raiders a 28-20 lead. 11 minutes, 50 seconds left, fourth quarter. And this is Jeff Hayes getting set to punt for the 7th time. Greg Pruitt back at his 16-yard line. Jim Plunkett and Calvin Muhammad hooking up for 2 touchdowns, and that's been the story in the second half. Pruitt unleashing. That's the punter, Hayes, missing. And here's Pruitt, who could go all the way. Greg Pruitt doing something that is rarely done against the Redskins special team, and that is he has scored a touchdown.
He made a decision, Marv, that I think most coaches would scold. Late in the ball game with an 8-point lead, he elected to catch the ball on the 4-yard line and try to run it out of there. How many times have you heard anything inside the 10, let it go in the end zone? He saw enough territory to give himself a little free running room, elected to catch the ball, and boy, when he made that break right in there, he made a break against the best special teams play in the game. He gets around Jeff Hayes, and from there on in, it's nothing but a cakewalk. Talk about a drastic turnaround.
It is being recorded as a 97-yard punt return. And the Raiders have broken it open. Chris Barr looking to make it 35-10, and does. And again, silence from 55,000 here at RFK. The Los Angeles Raiders leading the Washington Redskins by 15. That's the longest punt return in the history of the Raiders. Record previously held by George Atkinson. And that's Garrett moving to the left. Theismann looking Garrett's way. Now goes the other. Joe Washington. Washington to the 30. Washington unleashing. Less after Hayes pushed him out. And here are the Redskins, first down at the 21.
You don't make that kind of play unless your offense thinks you have a chance to win the ball game. He got great blocks from his wide receivers, 2 of them that time. Theismann looks to the other side, waits to the last possible second, comes off. Good coordination with Bostic and May. They pick up their blocks at the point of attack. And here goes Joe, getting good help from Charlie Brown, number 87. When your wide receivers still think you have a chance, they're going to help your running backs. You get plays like this, and you can get yourself back in it.
Raiders with a second half surge, leading at 35-20. First down at the 11. That's Giaquinto in motion. Touchdown. So Theismann right back, combining with Charlie Brown, who did it in the face of James Davis.
Onside kick team.
And they have Greg Pruitt up as a short man. And
it looked to me like the Redskins got it.
Yes, they did. Pruitt tried to chase it down, could not get near it, and the Redskins have recovered. So Mark Mosley checking in. He's 2 for 3. He missed from 36 late in the first quarter and then connected from 28 yards and from 30.
This is not the time to try a fake field goal. The Raiders will not try and block this field goal.
34-yard attempt. And it is good. Four minutes, 28 seconds remaining. Fourth quarter. Raiders 35, Redskins 30. It's down a minute and 27 remaining fourth quarter. Raiders lead it 35-30. And again, Theismann completes the drive.
Marv, let's remember, there is 1:08 remaining. The Skins have 2 timeouts left. They cannot kick a field goal. They are 5 points behind. They have got to score a touchdown.
Theismann is 22 for 38, 411 yards. Second and goal at the 6. Looking Washington. Touchdown! Explosion here at RFKN. Mark Mosley has given the Redskins a 37-35 lead with 33 seconds remaining. And Jim Plunkett has to go for it all. The Raider hope. Vernon Dean, in a second year out of San Diego, has concluded it. We're down to 19 seconds. And the Redskins just have to sit on the football. 7th turnover by the Raiders that killed them in the first half. And now Dean picks it off from Plunkett.
You can see if there's a prayer, let's throw it down to number 82, see if he can come up with it. This game is history. It's one of the best offensively played games I've ever seen.
Penalty marker was thrown as Theismann just sat on the football. Washington Redskins on their way to their first ever victory over the Raider franchise. They had lost the previous 3. A procedure penalty on the Raiders. More football to come following the Redskins and the Raiders. You'll see either Miami and New Orleans or the Giants and the Chargers right here on NBC. And now the clock running out. We'd like to thank our statistician Joe Bann, our spotters Gabe Romano and Vince Scanlon. That's Joe Gibbs congratulating the Raider players. Marv Albert with John Brody from Washington. Again, the final. Redskins 37, Raiders 35.